Get your daily dose of inspiration through our music. Follow jescom.ph on Spotify and Jescom Music in YouTube.
Good morning, Ateneo. Start your day right with your morning wake-up call. Good morning, Ateneo. Energize your day with the lively, funny, and lovely tandem of Mayor de los Santos and Ariel Dicción. Catch the latest news and stories around the campus. Good morning, Ateneo. Your daily dose of radio chikahan, tawanan, kantahan, and kwentuhan. Every morning, only here on the voice of the Blue Eagle, radyo-katipunan, 87.9 FM. Good morning, Ateneo. Mornings have never been this good. Radyo-Katipunan is now online. See our live feed on facebook.com/radyo-katipunan. Check out our Instagram and our Twitter at radyo-katipunan and subscribe to our YouTube channel at radyo-katipunan FM for more exclusive content.
To open our eyes and ears that we may see the face of Christ and hear His voice in our midst. For 28 years, Jesuit Communications has been promoting the Catholic faith and serving the nation through both traditional and new media. Hear us tackle national issues in light of Christian values on Usapang Kapatid, Pasakalye, and Radio Veritas. Watch our uplifting reflections on Kapet Pandasal and The Word Exposed, as well as our acclaimed TV specials. Listen to the inspiring and soothing music of Jesuit Music Ministry's original artists as you read our spiritually enriching books. To learn more about Jescom's mission of evangelization and education, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and our website, jescom.ph. To give a face to the faceless and a voice to the voiceless, that we may recognize Christ in them and hear His story in theirs. Jescom Music Ministry, your daily dose of inspiration. Follow Jescom.ph on Spotify and Jescom Music on YouTube. We are also on iTunes and Deezer.
Join Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle as he delivers to us the preachings of the Sunday's Gospel that's awe-inspiring, yet easy to understand and appreciate. Let us all listen to the Word of God here on The Word Exposed on Air, only on Radyo-Katipunan, 87.9 FM. Radyo-Katipunan, news, insights, inspiration. Radyo-Katipunan, down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo-Katipunan, the voice of the Blue Eagle.
Radyo, 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 katipunan, radyo, katipunan, radyo, katipunan, radyo, 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 katipunan, radyo, katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay atin sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, radyo, katipunan, radyo, 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 katipunan, radyo, katipunan, radyo, katipunan. Kawan ni Ignacio, katipunero sugo, todo sa kayot, tulong at tulong.
rejoice, refresh, renew, and reflect. Join us for an hour of music that uplifts the soul. Listen to your favorite Jesuit music ministry artists. This is JMM Radio. JMM Radio. Get your day's dose of inspirational music. Tune in to JMM Radio every Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. Only here on radyo-katipunan 87.9 FM.
Right, and we are live. Welcome to JMM Radio, the radio program of the Jesuit Music Ministry. Ako po si Lester Mendiola, broadcasting from my house here in Quezon City. At kasama natin mula sa Zambales, si Justin. Hi, Just!
All the way from Zambales. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat and welcome to another edition of your JMM Radio only here on Radio-Katipunan 87.9 FM, the voice of the Blue Eagle. Of course, on your 87.9 FM band if you are within the Katipunan and Ateneo areas. Napapakinggan din po tayo, of course, via online radio at jescom.ph /radyo-katipunan. At syempre, sa live streamings natin via Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Of course, sa handles natin sa Radyo Katipunan, sa Ateneo de Manila University, sa Jesuit Communications, at syempre sa Jesuit Music Ministry Facebook fan pages. Ayan. And of course, our artist pages as well. Ayan. So magandang gabi po at tulad ng sabi ni Lester, I'm on location. Wow, feeling remote, ang daming arte.
Kailan ka ba? May pabalita bang magaganap dyan sa...
Oo nga eh. Babalita ko lang naman sana na maganda yung panahon ngayon dito. Kaso yun nga lang, medyo madilim na eh. Medyo nagtakip-silim na, no? Kanina sayang, no? Kung medyo napaaga-aga tayo ng broadcast, baka makikita pa nila yung sunset, no? Lalo na doon sa mga yung gustong-gusto na maka-experience man lang ng summer. Or, well, siguro kasi dahil nga medyo
Tag-ulan na.
Ha? Tag-ulan na nga actually eh, oo, di ba? So, medyo dito a little medyo mainit-init pa naman. So, pero balita ko nga daw Les sa inyo, medyo nga daw diyan, makulimlim.
Oo. Well, tuwing hapon, usually umuulan dito sa Kalakhang, Maynila.
Parang hindi naman ako nang galing dyan, di ba? Nagpipiling lang ako na malayo. But anyway, ayan. So, of course, magandang gabi po muli sa ating mga katipuneros and we kind of missed you, of course. We've been out for a few weeks, di ba? Tama ba?
Just for 1 week, actually.
Yeah. No? Pero na-miss pa rin natin sila, syempre.
Oo. Nagpahinga tayo kasi we had that rest and recreation.
Yes, oo. Correct, oo. Ganun din, kasi nga parang nga din natin yan. Panahon para magpahinga at, magnilay. Syempre, di ba? So, kaya, ayan. Naku, sana po kayo din, no? You are able to find your own rest and time to reflect on, of course, on the things that's happening, also with your life, no? So sana po ay gawin nating habit 'yan, no, na magpahinga at magnilay.
So, lalo na sa mga balita ngayong araw na to, kailangan nating huminga, Justin, sa mga nakikita nating balita. No? So,
totoo yan.
Kumusta ang Mayo mo, Just? Kumusta ang Mayo para sa'yo?
So far, okay. Well, ang Mayo natin, bukod sa medyo maulan, no, at marami ding mga panahon naman na maaraw, relatively good, no? Pero kasi syempre, 'di ba, marami tayong nami-miss sa mga ganitong panahon, 'di ba? Lalo na nung nag-pandemic. So, sa ngayon, hindi ko pa siya na-experience. Alam mo ba kung ano yon?
Ano?
Mga fiesta. Mga fiesta pag Mayo. Di ba? Kasi syempre, May is considered as parang mga, panahon ng mga, sa bagay sa atin naman sa Pilipinas, buong taon ay may mga kapistahan. Pero
parang Mayo, diba? Maraming kapistahan sa pagbuwan ng Mayo.
Oo, correct. And sabi nga nila, di ba, ang pinaka-highlight ng Mayo, 'di ba? Ay it's actually a month dedicated for Mary, no? So isa 'yan sa natin. Sa tawag dito, celebrate natin tuwing buwan ng Mayo, no? Yung Flores de Mayo. Ayun.
Correct.
So sabi nga nila, 'di ba, it's originally a Thanksgiving festival ng mga farmers para umulan, no, para madiligan ng kanilang mga mga pananim. So kaya nag-aalay sila ng mga bulaklak, no? Bilang pasasalamat at syempre paghingi na rin ng dasal, no? Sa through the help of course our Blessed Mother, no? Kaya tinawag din itong Flores de Maria.
Correct. Bukod dyan, Justin, meron pang ginagawa kapag buwan ng Mayo, yung Santa Cruzan naman.
Oh, yan. Isa rin yan, di ba? Isa rin yan sa mga namimiss ng karamihan sa atin. Lalo na yung mga yung dumadayo pa para lang mag-participate.
Meron kayong Santa Cruzan yung panahon ng Mayo.
I wonder. Kaya nga sabi ko nga, kasi lalo na ngayon na medyo nag-tone down na yung, yung community, ito, no, yung pandemic, no, somehow, no, sana nga tuloy-tuloy na to. At medyo nagkakaroon na rin tayo ng pagkakataon na on-site events. So kaya hopefully sana may mga nakagawa. Pero wala pa akong nakita eh. Ikaw ba meron na?
Parang meron ako nakita sa news feeds ko nung isang araw. Pero I don't remember kung saan. Itong mga activities na to, Justin, yung Flores de Mayo, paminsan tinatawag din natin siyang Flores de Maria, at saka yung Santa Cruzan. At saka yung mga iba-ibang prosesyon na ginagawa kapag Mayo. Ito ay actually isang paraan para mag-catechize ng ating mga mananampalataya, no? Bukod dun sa popular piety na devotion ng mga ito rin ay para mag-catechize, magturo sa mga mananampalataya. Pero bukod dun sa mga nabanggit natin, isa sa mga pinaka I would say mahalagang kapistahan sa buwan ng Mayo ay yung kapistahan ng Mahal na Birhen ng Fatima. Ayan.
Yes, ayan, oo.
May 13, we observed the first apparition of Our Lady of Fatima. Kasi naganap yung first apparition on May 13, 1970.
Correct. And very very significant of course, no? Very significant of course ang Our Lady of Fatima, no? Sa mga hindi lang siguro sa atin, no, sa ating mga Katoliko dito sa bansa, but around the world, no, because we know yung devotion sa kanya, no, has been widespread and also has been a subject of a lot of talks about yung message, no, ng Fatima in the dun sa kanya apparitions. So yon, kaya very very widespread and very prolific itong devotion sa Fatima.
I remember nung ako ay bata pa, unang napakilala sa akin yung devotion sa Our Lady of Fatima dahil sa Block Rosary. 'Di ba yung di ba nga nagjo-joke tayo sa office, yung ililipat si Mama Mary from one office to another. Yun.
At dapat sa bawat paglipat, meron kang pakape at pasupa.
May pasopas.
Kaya pasopas. Pag medyo nakakaangat sa buhay.
Sana meron pa rin ganun ngayon, no? Kasi dito sa lugar namin, parang medyo madalang na. Parang noon sa mga parokya, maraming Black Rosary. Tapos it encourages yung mga families to pray together. Dahil parang tinatanggap nila yung imahe ni Our Lady of Fatima o kahit na anong imahe pa ni Mama Mary, tapos magsistay sa kanila for a certain period of time, tapos magdadasal sila ng rosaryo. With the hopes of sana ipagpatuloy nila yung pagdarasal kahit na nakaalis na yung image.
Ngayong gabi po mga kaibigan, we are actually doing a focus on of course this devotion, no? This very important devotion to Our Lady of Fatima, no? And we will know more about this,
Correct.
Of course, sa tulong ng ating mga panauhin ngayong gabi. Yan. So pakilala na natin kung sino ang ating mga makakasama ngayong gabing ito.
For first-timer sila pareho sa radyo-katipunan, Justo. Ang ating unang panauhin ay ang National Formator of the World Apostolate of Fatima. Siya rin ay isang writer at host ng First Saturdays in Fatima. Writer at editor ng Social Communications ng National Shrine of Our Lady of Fatima in Valenzuela. Ayan. Friends, please welcome Mr. Jilson Tio.
Hello,
Hi,
good
Yan.
evening.
Good evening, Sir Jilson.
Yeah.
Bati muna kayo sa ating mga katipunero.
Yeah, good evening, Sir Les, Sir Justin, at sa lahat po ng mga viewers natin tonight. Thank you so much for featuring the devotion to Our Lady of Fatima in your program here in Radyo-Katipunan.
Yan. At of course, aside from Sir Jilson, makakasama rin natin ang isang devotee, no? Isang malalim na devotee from of the Our Lady of Fatima. Isa sa mga kaibigan rin natin from the Manila Cathedral, no? At siya isang kamarero or tagapangalaga ng mga santo, si Mr. John Felix Santos. Ayan. Magandang gabi, Sir Felix.
Hi, good evening, Justin. Good evening, Sir Les. Good evening, then, Jilson. Yeah, first time here. Hello.
Ayan. Welcome to JMM Radio. Sige, siguro we can start off first yung ating pagkukwentuhan, no, about the devotion to the Blessed Mother. To backtrack to why you got attracted to the devotion, no? Saan nagsimula ito bale sa inyong buhay? So siguro simulan natin sa kay Sir Jilson.
Hi, good evening once again. My devotion to Our Lady of Fatima started when I was still a child because our house was located near the National Shrine of Our Lady of Fatima dito sa Valenzuela City. So dito na po kasi ako pinanganak, dito na ako lumaki. So ang nakagisnan ko talaga na title ni Mama Mary is Our Lady of Fatima. And just like what Sir Lester shared earlier, yung Black Rosary, it really had an impact on me. No, katulad din ng mga ibang nagkukwento siguro sa atin na bakit mo nakilala ang Our Lady of Fatima? It's because of the Black Rosary. I remember, no, lagi akong excited kapag nililipat sa bahay namin yung image ng Our Lady of Fatima. At the same time, kapag aalis naman, nalulungkot naman ako. No? And I would anticipate joyfully yung time na babalik siya ulit sa bahay namin. So that was how it started. And when I was 10 years old, I applied as one of the altar servers sa National Shrine. So that became my entry point in serving in our parish, which is also the National Shrine of Fatima in the Philippines, and eventually got involved in different organizations, different groups, until I became a member of the World Apostolate of Fatima. So before, may youth arm kasi yun, it's the Youth Apostolate of Fatima. So yung mga naging batchmates ko, yung iba, until now member din sila no, ng World Apostolate of Fatima, even in other places. So that's how my love and my devotion to Our Lady of Fatima grew, no, started, and until now, I still keep in my heart, no, this love and this devotion to her.
Yeah.
Ayun. How about si Sir Felix? Kamusta? Saan nanggaling ang iyong pagdedebosyon, no, sa mahal na Birhen ng Fatima?
So, hi, good evening ulit. Yes, Justin. So, yeah, same with Jilson. Started early. Well, number one, I have this interest when it comes to images. So, in our barangay before, there used to be parang every first Saturday procession in honor of Our Lady of Fatima. So siguro that's where I started. Every first Saturday sasama ako sa procession, tapos and then I became a member of Legion of Mary na ang isa sa mga duties namin nun ay mag-ikot naman ng Black Rosary. So hindi kami yung pinupuntahan, kami yung nagdadala ng Black Rosary. So siguro yun yung mga first encounters ko sa ating mahal na Birhen ng Fatima. Tapos siguro magiging climax nito would be our Marian pilgrimage mismo sa kanyang shrine in Portugal, which is actually life-changing kasi knowing the apparitions and being where the Virgin really appeared. Yun, so medyo siguro na palalim lalo yung devotion ko kay Our Lady of Fatima.
Wow. Ang gandang experience siguro to be able to visit the place where Our Lady appeared. So just binanggit ni Felix yung tungkol dun sa apparition. Balikan natin siguro briefly ano yung kwento nung pagpapakita ng Our Lady of Fatima.
Yes, for the benefit of our audience na
magpakwento
gusto
tayo
malaman, in depth. Correct.
kay Sir Jilson.
Maybe you can share.
Hi. Regarding the story, regarding the history of the apparitions, actually, the apparitions started as early as, maybe some of you are not aware of this, 1915. So in 1915, Lucia, along with her sister and two other companions, and they saw a human figure suspended in air. So natakot sila, nakatingin lang sila, pero it just remained suspended there. So tinitingnan lang nila, no? Walang apparition na nangyari, but it was just a sighting. But they knew that it was something of supernatural origin. Parang ganon. So that was 1915. And then a year after, spring of 1916, the Angel of Portugal appeared to the three children, to Lucia, along with her two cousins, Francisco and Jacinta Marto. So siguro, a good lesson that we can find here, is sometimes kasama natin yung mga tao na normally yung mga relatives natin o yung mga friends natin, pero minsan hindi sila yung mga tao na destined for us to experience something from the Lord. Kasi if it was the angel nung 1915, perhaps iba yung mga naging visionaries ng Fatima, but no, they were not the chosen ones. 1916, when the Angel of Peace appeared to the three children, ang kasama na ni Lucia noon was yung dalawang cousins niya, si Francisco and si Jacinta. The angel appeared thrice. So spring, and then afterwards in summer of 1916, and then the last one was fall, when the angel appeared and gave the children the mystical communion, because he was carrying a host and a chalice, and binigay niya yung host and yung contents ng chalice dun sa tatlong bata. So why did the angel appear? Because the three of them should be prepared for greater events that will happen to them a year after. And that was in 1917 when Our Lady appeared to them. Actually, Fatima is always associated with peace, because nung time na yon, it was the height of the First World War. No, sabi in one of the homilies that I listened to, even bloodier daw. No, the First World War was even bloodier than the Second World War. So ang Santo Papa that time, Pope Benedict XV, asked the faithful to offer a novena in honor of Our Lady of Peace, in honor of the Queen of Peace. And on the 8th day of that novena, that was May 13, the first apparition took place. That is why Fatima is always associated nga with our prayers for peace, no, especially whenever nations are whenever there are attacks, no, from one nation against another nation. What happened that time, since it was spring also, no, May 13, was yung three children, they were tending their sheep. No, yun kasi yung isa sa mga kinabubuhay ng mga family nila. By the way, they're not a rich family. No, mahirap lang yung mga families nila. And Fatima is not really a city, or it's not even the capital of Portugal. So you can just imagine how these people live during that time. No, they live simple lives. So nagpapastol nga yung tatlong bata, and while they were looking at their sheep, or yung flock nung sheep nila, they saw something like parang a flash of lightning. Pero hindi naman siya talaga kidlat, no? Hindi naman siya talaga lightning, sabi si Sir Lucia, but parang may flash ng liwanag. So they thought it would rain. That's why they hurried up, and yung mga tupa nila, no, the flock, they tried to gather them kasi nga they thought uulan. However, when they went to the other direction, they saw a lady which or whom Lucia described as brighter than the sun. So yung mga images ng Our Lady of Fatima na karaniwan nating nakikita, ganun yung description ni Sister Lucia. Our Lady was wearing a white gown with white veil, with golden trimmings on the hem, no. And then she told the three children that she's from heaven. And Sister Lucia asked her, what does she want? Ano yung gusto niya na mangyari? Ano yung gusto niya dun sa tatlong bata? So, may mga instructions ng Mahal na Birhen. Sabi niya, I want you to come here on the 13th day of each month, in the same hour, no? So it was midday. And then, nasabihin daw niya, in October, who is she, and what does she want? So yun lang yung request ng Our Lady basically. But along with that, she also requested during her first apparition and in the succeeding apparitions, the prayer of the rosary. No, pray the rosary for to obtain peace for the world. Kasi nga, di ba, during that time, it was the height of the First World War. And then it was also during the first apparition when Our Lady asked them if they are willing to offer themselves, or if they are willing to accept the sacrifices that God would send them, kung willing daw ba sila natanggapin lahat yung mga pagpapakasakit na yon, no, lahat yung mga sacrifices that they should offer. And the three children, despite their young age, they said yes. No, so Lucia answered on behalf of her cousins, yes, no, that they're willing. And that was the first apparition. That was the start. And eventually nga, nasundan nga yun, June 13 was the second apparition. Medyo nalaman na ng family nila sa kanong neighborhood nila that there's something happening in Cova. In June 13, during the June 13 apparition, on June 13, Our Lady revealed her Immaculate Heart, but it was no longer a heart that is encircled with flowers, but a heart that was encircled with thorns. So that's why Fatima is also known for the sorrowful and the Immaculate Heart of Mary. So it was in the month of June, and it was also in the same month when Our Lady, Fatima also affirms the truth that there's the reality of heaven, the reality of purgatory, and the reality of hell. Kasi nung June apparition, sabi niya, may mga kakilala, yung mga visionaries, were still in purgatory, and one of them would remain in purgatory until the end of the world. No? Now, during the July 13 apparition, dito naman ni-reveal yung secret of Fatima. There's only one secret, but it has three parts. No, and along with this, Our Lady also revealed here that Russia should be consecrated to her Immaculate Heart. Otherwise, if if that nation would not be consecrated, she would continue to spread her errors in the world. So yung mga children, kasi di pa sila nag-aaral, they did not know what is Russia. They did not know geography. Hindi sila familiar. They thought, actually si Francisco akala niya Russia yung isa sa mga alagang hayop nung uncle niya, no, na stubborn daw. Akala niya yun yung tinutukoy ni Our Lady. However, years after, no, when Sister Lucia also wrote in her memoirs yung tungkol sa consecration of Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, doon lang naging malinaw sa lahat, no, what is this July 13 apparition all about. And the third part of the secret, which was revealed on May 13, 2000, during the term of Pope John Paul II, may official interpretation ng simbahan dito. So I will not discuss that in detail anymore. It's actually available from the website of the Vatican. So that was the July apparition, and it was also in that apparition when Our Lady taught the prayer that we are now praying after each decade of the Rosary, yung Fatima decade prayer. No? So that was also during the July apparition. Yung August apparition naman, for me, it's one of the most dramatic episodes in the apparitions because the children were kidnapped. No, if that's the term, they were abducted by the mayor of their town. Kasi nagkakagulo na dun sa town nila during that time because of the apparitions, because a lot of pilgrims, a lot of believers would come. So gusto nang ipatigil nung mayor nila. And we should also be aware na during that time, Freemasonry ay usong-uso, no, sa Portugal, especially among the government officials. So yung mayor, against talaga siya dun sa nangyayaring gathering dun sa Cova. So para ma-prevent yun, na-trick niya yung 3 children na sabi niya samahan daw niya pumunta sa Cova pero hindi. No? So dinala niya sa bahay niya, pinipilit niya na sabihin ano yung secret and to tell him na hindi totoo yung mga apparitions. But the 3 children were very firm that Our Lady was indeed the one appearing to them. O yung mga nangyayari sa Cova. However, kahit na anong gawin nung mayor, no, nung administrator ng town nila, wala talaga siyang nagawa para pilitin yung 3 children. So they were released. And Our Lady, although she did not appear on August 13, she appeared to the 3 children August 19 in another place in Baliños. So the next apparition was in September, and then the last one was October 13, 1917, wherein the Great Miracle of the Sun took place. And maybe later na lang natin i-discuss, no, the Great Miracle of the Sun, because if you would ask about the miracles that happened in Fatima, that's actually one of the interesting points that we can share with our viewers. So yun lang yung summary. So it was from May 13 to October 13, no, when Our Lady appeared in Fatima, no, in Portugal, to the 3 children.
Actually, this is one of the most documented, no, na apparitions siguro, no, in modern history. And since you
may movie yan, Just, di ba? Recent.
Correct.
May old movie tapos merong bago. So,
yeah, there are several versions na meron pang iba-ibang mga languages, meron pa sa Spanish, no, iba-iba.
Ayan, since you already mentioned, no, yung mga notable na apparitions and miracles, no, siguro we can try to breeze through them a bit, no. Like as you mentioned, the miracle of the sun, no. Can you give us like yung mga notable, no, na mga miracles ng Fatima?
Well, a lot of people were skeptical. No, if there would be one person na sobrang, alam mo yon, hindi talaga naniwala at first sa mga bata, especially sa anak niya. Yun yung mother ni Lucia, si Maria Rosa. In fact, dun sa latest film, hindi nga maganda yung depiction sa kanya kasi talagang sinasaktan niya yung anak niya. So they were looking for a proof. So si Lucia kept on telling them, on October 13, Our Lady promised a miracle. Paulit-ulit siya. No, kapag may mga nagtatanong, Our Lady promised a miracle on October 13. So, yes, of course, we know that yun na nga yung solar phenomenon, no, yung miracle of the sun. May mga nagsasabi, baka daw coincidence lang. Pero how could that be a coincidence if it was foretold months ago by a little girl na wala namang idea about science, no? Pero aside from that, Our Lady also promised that there would be healings, especially dun sa mga those faithful, no, who kept on coming to the apparition site. Pero sabi niya hindi din naman daw lahat gagaling sa mga sakit nila because they need to be converted first. Parang ganon. No, so a lot of other miracles aside from the solar phenomenon, the miracle of the sun, a lot of documented miracles also took place, especially during the October 13 apparition. Even the day of the apparition kasi, in fact yung the day before the apparition, sobrang lakas ng ulan. So it was raining the day before. But after the miracle of the sun, nagulat lahat sila natuyo. And even the surroundings natuyo. And it was documented also in many books, no, in many publications. Yung mga secular press, yung mga press na against sa church during that time, they wrote objectively that there was truly something happening in that village, especially during the October 13 apparition. So even the secular press admitted. Yun. So yung miracles of healing, the miracle of the sun, yan yung dalawang masasabi natin greatest of all the miracles that happened in fact. But of course, yung mga conversions, the many conversions, yung mga hindi, the non-believers, they believed afterwards, especially when they witness the miracle of the sun. Yun, that's another miracle that we can consider from the apparitions in Fatima.
I'm curious, siguro for someone who was able to visit the pilgrimage site itself. So tanungin natin si Felix, what was his experience? I'm sure you're able to go to the yung kapelinha, yung maliit na yung mismong chapel where the Blessed Virgin Mary appeared. Can you share with us your experience going to Fatima?
So for someone unlike Jilson who had full appreciation of the events that transpired in Fatima, I went there with a blank slate, not expecting anything. But the whole sanctuary, the whole area of the sanctuary, it was really peaceful. Like you won't feel that serenity when you go to Manawag, to Antipolo, which is always busy or noisy, ganyan. When you come to Fatima, it's just stillness. There's a peace na mararamdaman mo. The Capellina, although a bit big na rin siya, hindi lang siya basta-basta chapel. So nakapag-pray kami ng rosary doon, and then the following day we retraced the apparition sites. Nakarating kami doon sa bahay nung seers nung Fatima, si Lucia, si Jacinta, tsaka si Francisco. Totoo, tama si Sir Jilson. They're really not that well off considering. I think middle income, ganyan. It was a simple house. Once you come to the apparition site, sa isang apparition site sa Valinhos, funny thing, bigla na lang ako umupo sa isang ledge doon. Tapos, so our tour guide was a nun. So she was explaining, then I just sat there. I thought the apparition site was where the image of Our Lady was located. There's a small, parang mini chapel doon na shrine na may image ni Mama Mary. I thought that is where the apparition really took place. So, mapula sa ledge, ganyan. So, she was just making kwento. Only to find out, a few minutes later, tinuro niya, actually, Our Lady did not appear on this exact shrine. She appeared there, pointing at me. Sabi ko, what? Doon pala ako nakaupo sa pinaka-ledge ko saan yung... Kaya pala may mga, sa bandang likod ko, may mga tirikan ng kandila. Kasi that is where Our Lady appeared. So, bigla ako tumayo. Sabi ko, oh my God. parang nakakaya naman doon pa ako umupo. So, ayun, nakita din namin kung saan nagpakita yung Angel of Portugal, where the children received their first mystical communion. Really, wala akong ibang description then. It's peaceful. Iba yung pakiramdam. Yes, at Lourdes, you won't feel that eh. Sa Lourdes, laging maraming tao. And then when you come to Lourdes, you're looking for healing. So I think kung pag i-compare mo yung dalawang Great Marian apparitions na to, when you come to Fatima, it's peace. When you come to Lourdes, it's healing. Two different gifts from heaven. But when you come to Fatima, hindi ko ma-discuss talaga yung feeling ko nung nandoon ako. Yeah. Ayun, so masaya.
So, ramdam natin in fairness, ramdam namin yung speech, yung pagiging speechless mo siguro sa immense blessing, no, of being able to be there, right, in the very spot, no, where our Blessed Mother appeared, no, and siguro kahit sino naman. Right. And
just yung image of Our Lady of Fatima when you go to yung image sa Portugal, or even the one in Valenzuela, if you look at the image, it's very peaceful, and the image parang invites you to prayer, really. So I can just imagine what the experience is coming to Fatima.
Yes, I actually have a question for both our guests, no. Kasi syempre yun nga, we, for all the believers and for all the devotees, no, very masyadong malalim, of course, ang ating pagtalima doon sa debosyon, no. But for the skeptics, then you mentioned about skeptics earlier, no. What's the stand of the church, in terms of these apparitions? And of course, diba, the question always is, do we really need to believe in these apparitions to be considered as as true Catholics? So, yun, siguro anyone can answer that question.
Jilson?
Sige, I'll go first. Actually, the church does not require us to believe in apparitions, and we are not bound under the pain of sin if ever we will not believe in any of these apparitions, even if the church already declared a certain apparition worthy of belief. Kasi let's face it, may mga Catholics pa rin talaga na hindi talaga sila naniniwala, no, sa mga apparitions, even if they are approved ones. Well, sad to say, even sometimes, no, even priests, no, even yung mga religious, hindi sila, may mga, I'm not saying all naman, may mga ilan-ilan na talagang they're not really fan, no, of these apparitions. And dumadaan din kasi ito sa masusing proseso, no, before an apparition would be declared as worthy of belief. In fact, Fatima, it took 13 years. 13 din, no? 13 years bago ito na-declare ng local bishop na worthy of belief, bago na permit yung devotion to Our Lady of Fatima. So, yun, may mga criteria ang simbahan no, bago nila sabihin na ito ay worthy of belief. Pero again, just like what I mentioned earlier, hindi naman tayo magkakasala kung sabihin natin na di tayo naniniwala, di tayo we're not fan of a certain apparition or all Marian apparitions, or not even Marian apparitions, even apparitions of saints, na yung mga ganun.
Right. Ayun nga, no, kasi since yung kumbaga kung paano yung naramdaman, no, ni Felix doon sa kanyang experience, no, how can we translate that to those people who are of course very skeptical about believing in these devotions, no? Coming from somebody like you na talagang have felt it firsthand how it was.
For explaining a miracle to a skeptic, siguro everything points to something divine when talking about these apparitions. Well, to begin with, it was prophesied during the apparitions that the two children, si Jacinta and Francisco, would not live to long age. So the prophecy is one gift. Tapos another one is the secrets of Fatima. With what's currently happening in Ukraine, kaya tayo nagkaroon ng consecration to Our Lady of Fatima, to the Immaculate Heart of Mary last March 25 again, was to renew this consecration because ito yung mga isang hiningi ng Our Lady para to achieve peace. So, and then also with the assassination attempt on John Paul II, on May 13 also, the Feast of Our Lady, I really can't explain kung ano doon sa mga events na yun ang kulang pa para ang isang tao ay hindi maniwala sa nangyayari sa kanyang harapan. Pero at the end of the day, if you are well grounded in your faith, like the Catholic faith, this would be supplemental na lang para siyang magiging dagdag ano na lang natin, parang dagdag pampalalim lalo ng pananampalataya. But as long as we follow what the church teaches, the Bible and the teachings of the church, there should be no problem or no sin then makocommit ang isang skeptic when it comes to certain Marian apparitions.
Okay. There are other Marian apparitions that happened after Fatima that were approved, or some were not approved by the church. But can you share with us, Sir Jilson, if there are parallelisms or meron bang pagkakapareho yung mga mensahe? Diba, paminsan hindi natin alam si Mama Mary makulit kasi hindi tayo nakikinig sa kanya, yung mga tao, di ba?
Paulit-ulit, no? Parang di ba? Yung parang tunay na ina.
Oo, she's appearing in different locations, saying the same thing. Did we see that in the history of the Marian apparitions?
Yes, Sir Les. In fact, let's look at two other apparitions aside from Fatima, yung Guadalupe and Lourdes. Because in both apparitions, in Guadalupe and in Lourdes, Our Lady requested for a shrine, for a temple, or for a chapel to be built in the place of the apparitions. And sa Fatima, noong October 30, 1917 apparition, yun din yung request ni Mama Mary, no, for a chapel. Sabi niya, I want a chapel to be built here. So what does it mean when Our Lady would request for a chapel, for a temple, no, for a church to be built in the spot of her apparition? She wants that place to be hallowed or to be considered a sacred one. And not only that, whenever we have churches, whenever we have chapels or these temples, ang reason naman, the first reason naman bakit tayo pumupunta sa mga simbahan is because we want to celebrate the Eucharist. We want to celebrate the Mass. And this is perhaps also the reason why the apparitions in Fatima started with the apparition of the Angel of Peace and the Eucharist, no, during the last apparition of the Angel of Peace. Kasi yung kahalagahan nung pagtanggap natin ng Eucharistia, no, pagpunta sa simbahan, no, nandun yon sa mga mensahe ni Mama Mary. And aside from that, yung importance of prayer, particularly in Fatima and in Lourdes, she mentioned the rosary. In fact, sa Lourdes nga, she was also praying the rosary, not together with Saint Bernadette. But in Fatima, hawak-hawak lang or nakasabit lang yung rosary sa kanya. The importance of prayer is also evident in these apparitions. And katulad ng mga binabanggit ko kanina, meron laging requests eh. Di ba sa Fatima sabi niya, I want you to come here every 13th of the month on the same time, no? Sa Lourdes, may mga requests din siya, like sabi niya kay Saint Bernadette, she wanted people to come dun sa place of the apparition in procession, di ba? Sa Guadalupe, parang sinabihan niya si Juan Diego, you should tell the bishop my request that I want a temple to be built here, no? And pati yung the roses, di ba? Sabi niya pakita mo to doon sa bishop for the bishop to believe. Saka yun yung roses, no, yung external, may element lagi ng external sign kasi nga people are hindi maniniwala agad hangga't wala nakikitang wonders eh. 'Di ba sa Lourdes yung water. The water, tapos sa Fatima yung the miracle of the sun, sa Guadalupe yung the miracle of the roses, no? Saka siguro yung healing din. Doon sa three apparitions, very evident kasi yung element ng healing na, di ba, JF? In Guadalupe, yung uncle ni Juan Diego was sick, and Juan Diego tried to avoid the direction kung saan nagpapakita si Our Lady of Guadalupe kasi nga gusto niyang unahin yung uncle niya na may sakit, only to find out that Our Lady also appeared to his uncle at gumaling yung uncle niya from his, always incorporated with the healings, no, of the sick, itong three apparitions na to. Saka the other thing that I mentioned earlier, yung simplicity ng mga visionaries dito sa tatlong apparitions na to. We all know that Bernadette was a peasant girl, no? Si Juan Diego din, no? Hindi naman nagpakita si Mama Mary sa mga bishops or sa mga pare, sa mga mayor, sa mga scholar, but she chose simple people. Maybe to emphasize that simplicity is also important, no, for people who are following the Lord, no, for people who are considering themselves as devotees of Our Lady. So yun, JF, baka may add ka sa similarities.
So add ko lang on those three apparitions also. These three apparitions nagkaroon siya ng devotion eh. Nagkaroon ng devotion. But this devotion does not end with the Virgin Mary. All devotions to these three apparitions leads to Jesus. At Guadalupe, when she appeared upon closer examination of the tilma, she was pregnant. She was carrying the child Jesus in her womb. So that points to Jesus again. At Fatima, she said, pray the rosary. The angel of peace said, you receive the body and blood of Christ. So kanino ba patungo to? Kay Jesus pa rin. At also sa Lourdes, it's not Mary who heals the sick sa Lourdes. It's through the power of her son, Jesus. So, yun yung parang common characteristic ng lahat ng devotion, ng apparition to Our Lady. It does not end with her. It always ends with Jesus. So, yun lang madadagdag ko.
I think it's very important to highlight na kasi akala ng ibang tao, sinasamba natin si Mama Mary, di ba? Parang Mama Mary just points us to Christ. So, dun sa mga apparitions na yon, it always points to Christ.
Yes, medyo syempre mapapalalim na yung ating discussion, no? We wanted to just greet a few people who are of course watching and listening to us, no? Like for example, si Leia Andal Guevara. I think she's agreeing to the same emotion that Sir Felix had felt, no? Siguro more or less baka nakabisita rin siya siguro sa Fatima, no? And then we have Rich Almario, who's also watching. Si Leia May Sanchez, no, praying for safety and peace for everyone. Ayan. Kasi actually there's also like a popular question here, no, on the devotion to Mama Mary, dahil nga napakarami din ng mga titulo, no, ng ating mahal na Birhen. How do we choose what to devote ourselves to? Kasi since they're all the same Mary anyway, so parang how do we choose to devote or what to devote ourselves to which image of the Blessed Mother? Or is there a way, or should we do that somehow?
Si Felix siguro kasi siya, marami siyang images, diba? Mary.
I think that question fits to you. Tama.
Okay. So I grew up in Pasig. The chapel where I used to go to almost every day with my aunt was dedicated to Our Lady of the Rosary, Nuestra Señora del Rosario. So coincidentally, Our Lady of Fatima introduced herself also as the Our Lady of the Rosary. So there are two different images. The one in our chapel carries the child on her arms, and then wearing blue and yellow na vestments si Mary. But in Fatima, she's alone and then carrying a rosary and in all white. So I guess when it comes to certain devotions or titles, what's important is you recognize that you do not place the value doon sa title ng Virgin Mary, but to the Virgin Mary. Because at the end of the day, yun nga, pumunta man ako sa Lanaval, pumunta man ako sa Guadalupe, pumunta ako sa kung saan mang may sa Manawag, ganyan, that would still be the same Virgin that is calling us to live as a faithful Christian, and also that points us to, again, going back to my earlier statement, that points us to Jesus Christ again. Whenever we go to church under the patronage of Our Lady, you'll see the tabernacle there. Pumunta man tayo sa ibang simbahan, or well, not even just Our Lady. Sige, for example, punta tayo sa simbahan ni Saint Michael, ni Saint Joseph. All of them focus their lives or their selves to Jesus, because it's always Jesus, diba? So I guess, how do we choose a devotion? It will call you. It will call you. Hindi tayo yung parang dito tayo kasi mas maraming gold na suot si Mama Mary. It's not that. Dito tayo kasi nandito si Mama Mary. Dapat ganun ang attitude natin, di ba? So, ayun.
Can I add something?
Yes, go ahead.
Well, hindi naman yan din parang nagsha-shopping lang tayo ng kung anong bagay. No? Pero dun sa mga viewers natin, no, who have the same question, always bear in mind na yung title ni Mama Mary, either kung galing man yan sa apparition or sa traditional title, yung devotion should transform oneself. There should be conversion and deepening of the faith. Kasi kung wala po yun, everything will be parang superficial. No? So yun yung dapat po natin na iwasan. So in my case, lahat kasi halos ng, alam niyo, lahat ng mga essentials in our Catholic faith, itinuro lahat sa Fatima eh. No? In fact, if we will summarize the messages, we can summarize it only into two. No? All the messages of Our Lady, we can summarize it into two only. Yung first and second commandments of the Lord. No? The love of God and the love of our neighbors. So kung summarize natin yung message ng Fatima, JF mentioned earlier, yung devotions should point out to the Lord, no, to Jesus. Mama Mary in Fatima requested, pleaded, she said, stop offending the Lord because He is already so much offended. No, so that's the love of God. At the same time, we should also live as devout Christians, devout Catholics, and in doing that, nagiging maayos din yung pakikipagkapwa-tao natin, di ba? Yung relationship natin sa kapwa natin. So, yun, devotions should transform us. Devotions should convert us at the same time. And also, it should deepen and it should increase our faith at the same time.
So speaking of change, no, siguro that's our final question or that's my final question for both of you, no. How did your devotion, no, change you? No? How did your devotion to Fatima change you, and what can you impart to our listeners with your lessons?
Jilson ko muna.
Okay. Akala ko ikaw. For that question, lagi kong binabalikan yung mabigat na pinagdaanan ko noong 2014 when I was diagnosed with AML. It's a blood cancer. I fought cancer for a year and hanggang ngayon, normal ako. I'm cancer-free for 5 years, so I'm cured. Pero during the time kasi na I was battling this illness, sobrang nakatulong yung mga messages ng Our Lady of Fatima, especially the offering of sacrifices. Kasi hindi madali ang pinagdaanan ko. And I know yung mga may sakit din o yung mga may karamdaman din ng mga nakikinig sa atin, hindi rin talaga din madali yung mga pinagdadaanan nila. So what I did was, I offered everything for the love of God. I offered everything for the conversion of sinners in reparation for the sins committed against the Immaculate Heart of Mary. So yung pain, yung suffering, yung sacrifice, nabigyan yan ng ibang kahulugan nung na-experience ko na siya mismo. Kasi naribabasa ko lang yan, naririnig ko lang yan about Fatima. Pero kapag ikaw na pala mismo yung nandun sa sitwasyon na yun, mas ma-appreciate mo lang siya. And mas ma-appreciate mo pa siya. And I consider that as a life-changing event. Kasi nga, I would usually share the importance of offering sacrifices na in Fatima, we are called to sacrifice according to our different states in life. So lagi-lagi ko lang sinasabi yun. Pero nung ako na yung naka-encounter, ako na yung naka-experience ng pain, ng suffering, mas nag-iba yung kahulugan nito. At hindi ko, I did not regret having went through that kind of ordeal. Kasi sabi nga natin, dun sa mga masasakit na mga pinagdadaanan natin, meron ding mga mabubuting bagay na naidudulot sa atin. And masasabi ko isa yun sa mga mabuting bagay na naidulot sa akin nung pagkakasakit ko. That I was able to appreciate more. I was able to love more the message of Fatima, especially the offering of our sacrifice, the offering of our pain, and the prayer of the rosary. Yan talaga yung hindi ko sinukuan. At sabi ko nga, for as long as I could, no, a day won't pass without me offering a decade of the rosary. So that's how my devotion to Our Lady of Fatima, the Fatima spirituality changed me and had an impact in my life.
Yeah, so well, ako naman on top of what Jilson said, which discusses the offering of suffering. Mine is more of coming from an offering of thanksgiving naman for everything that has happened. Yeah, I mean, after everything, I'm still here. My family is still here. Especially this pandemic, siguro isa sa pinagpapasalamat ko was this prayer to Saint Jacinta and Francisco Marto for saving us from what is this current pandemic. If we're going to remember, these two children suffered the Spanish flu, which is somewhat similar to what we're experiencing right now. So yun siguro yung isa sa mga pinagpapasalamat ko at lagi ko pa rin namang pinagdadasal, and also for the healing of my mother who had breast cancer also. Not not pointing it to any specific Marian devotion, but to the Virgin Mary. Ayun, doon ako sobrang thankful. So I guess at in some ways, yung experience ko ng bata ng pagsama ng prosesyon every first Saturday, and then eventually nag-iikot ng Black Rosary. This led me to a faith that is firm, that was planted on a firm, solid ground. So ayun, so I never felt alone whenever I encounter problems, because probably that was it. The Virgin Mary was always with me and is always with me. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Just right, bago tayo magtapos, meron lang tayong kaunting announcements from JMM. We're releasing a new song on June 10. Ang title niya is Prayer for Spiritual Communion. So, pinaste po namin ang pre-save link sa comment section. And of course, please don't forget to follow our social media accounts. We are on TikTok, we are on Facebook, YouTube. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Deezer. Yun po, abangan po ninyo, and we will have our first concert. Yan, abangan po ninyo sa July. We will be launching a new album, and then we will have a concert to close the Ignatian.
Right. Sorry, medyo nawala yung audio ko kanina lang, no. But yeah, I actually wanted to of course we would like to thank our guests for tonight for helping us, no, understand and appreciate, no, the devotion to Our Lady, no, and not just to Our Lady of Fatima, but you know, the Blessed Mother herself, no, and siguro magandang i-point back lang natin, no, dun sa sinabi ni Sir Felix na, you know, our devotion, our yung ating pamimintuho has to point back to the, you know, to where it will all start, or to where it all started, which is of course Jesus Christ himself. So siguro doon natin tatapusin, no? Ang ating doon natin lalagumin ang ating pag-uusap ngayon tungkol sa devotion to Our Lady. And ayan, ako, maraming salamat po for keeping us company tonight, no? Sir Jilson, Theo, and Sir John Felix Santos. Maraming salamat
Thank
po.
you.
At sana makasama namin kayo ulit, no? Sa susunod nating kwentuhan, of course. Ayan.
Abangan
Okay,
niyo po
let's
next week. Ang ating topic
Yes.
next week ay tungkol sa Ministry of the Altar Servers. Ayan, makakasama naman natin ang ating mga kaibigan na altar servers. Ayan, very interesting.
Mga acolytes. Kung ano may mga tawag natin, mga altar servers, mga acolytes, mga sacristans. Next week is your episode. So please do keep join us for that episode. Ayan.
And
Okay, so
Justin, may
po.
pahabol. May pahabol lang ako na pagbati kay Doc Paulo, kay Jen, at saka yung mga nandun sa Friends of the Jesuit Music Ministry. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat at maraming salamat sa panonood.
Yeah. At sa ngalan po ng aming mga producers, of course, the episode writer for this evening, the writer for this evening's episode, our producer Adam Domingo, sila sorry. Bigla may lumipas.
Chris
De La Cruz, Judith Esquivias, and Princess Diaz. Ako po si Justin Pontino ng Radio-Katipunan.
Sa ngalan po ng aking katuwang sa JMM na si Kuya Ray Malipot at ng ating tech na si Engineer James Wong. Ako po si Lester Mendiola mula sa Jesuit Music Ministry. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat at iiwanan namin kayo ng isang awit para sa Mahal na Birhen. Ito ang Salve Regina, performed by VC6 Philippines and arranged by AJ Consolacion. Magandang gabi po!
Magandang gabi! See you next week! Bye-bye!
rejoice, refresh, renew, and reflect. Join us for an hour of music that uplifts the soul. Listen to your favorite Jesuit music ministry artists. This is JMM Radio. JMM Radio. Get your day's dose of inspirational music. Tune in to JMM Radio every Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. Only here on radyo-katipunan 87.9 FM. Radyo-Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo-Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo-Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.